Elena is a young woman from a small town. She is 24 years old. Today is a special day for her. She is going to travel alone for the first time. She is going to California. She feels happy and excited, but also a little nervous. She is going to visit her grandmother, who lives in San Diego. Elena has always wanted to visit California. She has never been there before. This trip is a big dream for her. She wants to enjoy the trip, see new things, and also practice her English. Before the trip, Elena's grandmother sends her a message. The message says, "Hi, sweetie. I can't wait to see you. I put something special in your bag. Don't forget to smile." Elena smiles when she reads it. She opens her bag and finds a small wooden heart keychain. It is a lucky charm from her grandmother. Elena feels warm and safe. She holds the keychain in her hand and makes a small wish for a good trip. Elena also brings a journal with her. She wants to write about her trip in English. She writes before leaving home, "Dear Diary, this is my first big adventure. I feel scared and excited. I want to learn more English, so I will write everything here in simple English. I will listen, read, and speak more every day." She takes a taxi to the airport. The driver is friendly. He asks, "Where are you going?" Elena answers, "To California, to see my grandmother." The driver says, "That sounds nice. Enjoy your trip." Elena smiles and says, "Thank you." At the airport, Elena checks in and goes to the gate. There are many people, many signs, and many announcements. Everything feels big and fast. Elena takes a deep breath. She tells herself, "You can do this. It's okay to be nervous." On the plane, she sits near the window. She watches the clouds outside. They look soft, like pillows in the sky. She listens to music and feels calm. She thinks about her grandmother and the fun they will have. She writes in her journal again, "Up here in the sky, I feel free. I want to speak English better. I will try, even if I make mistakes." After a long flight, the plane lands in California. The sun is bright, the weather feels warm, the air smells fresh. Elena smiles. "I'm here," she says quietly. "I made it." She takes another taxi from the airport to the hotel. The driver asks, "Is this your first time here?" Elena nods. "Yes, it's my first time. I'm visiting family." The driver says, "That's great. Have fun and relax." At the hotel, Elena goes to the front desk. The receptionist gives her a room key and says, "Welcome. Your room is on the fourth floor." Elena says thank you and takes the elevator. She is tired but proud. She made the trip by herself. She feels strong. Inside her room, she sits on the bed. She takes out her journal and writes again. "I arrived in California. I took 2 taxis. I spoke to people in English. I listened carefully. I was scared, but I did it. This is just the beginning." She looks out at the window. The sky is turning orange. The sun is going down. Elena smiles. She feels ready for tomorrow. She knows this trip will be full of small adventures. She knows she will learn something new every day. She looks at the lucky charm one more time. Then she puts it next to her pillow and gets ready to sleep. She feels safe. She feels excited. And deep in her heart, she knows this journey will change her. This is Elena's first step into a bigger world, and she is ready to grow. Elena wakes up in her hotel room. She feels better after a long sleep. She takes a shower, gets dressed, and looks out the window. The sun is shining. It is her first full day in California. She is excited. She wants to see the city, walk around, and maybe find a coffee shop. She smiles and thinks, this is going to be a good day. Before she leaves the hotel, she gets a message on her phone. It is from her grandmother. The message says, "Hi, sweetie, are you at the hotel? Call me when you can. Love you." Elena smiles when she sees the message. She feels happy. She begins typing a quick reply. While looking at her phone, she feels something in her stomach. She needs to use the restroom. Elena puts her phone in her bag and looks around. She sees a sign that says restrooms. She walks down the hallway. There are two doors. One says men. The other says women. Elena knows which door to use. But just as she reaches for the door, her phone buzzes again. She looks down for a second. Without thinking, she pushes the wrong door open. She walks inside. Everything looks normal. There are sinks, mirrors, and hand dryers. It is very quiet. She takes a step forward. Then she hears a voice. It is deep. It is a man's voice. He says, "Excuse me, miss." Elena stops. Her heart starts beating fast. She turns around slowly. A man is standing near the sink. He looks confused. She looks around again. She sees the sign on the wall. It says men's restroom. Elena's face turns red. She feels embarrassed. Her hands feel cold. She quickly says, "I'm sorry." Then she turns around and runs out the door. But she is running too fast. She almost crashes into someone. It is the hotel receptionist. The woman looks surprised and asks, "Are you okay?" Elena tries to smile and says, "Yes, I'm fine. Everything is great." The receptionist nods and says, "Okay, enjoy your day." Elena walks away quickly. Her heart is still beating fast. She feels nervous and a little silly. She thinks, I need to slow down. I need to pay attention. She sees the restrooms again. This time, she stops and looks at the signs carefully. She checks the door 3 times before she opens it. Yes, this is the right one. She walks in slowly. There are no men, no mistakes. She washes her hands and looks at herself in the mirror. Her cheeks are still red. She laughs a little and whispers, "That was so embarrassing. But at least no one else saw me." Then she steps out of the restroom. And there he is, the same man from the men's restroom. He is standing in the hallway. He sees her. He smiles. Elena feels panic again. She wants to disappear. He walks toward her, calm and friendly. He says, "Hey, don't worry. It happens all the time." Elena laughs nervously. "Yeah, thanks," she says quietly. He then looks at her backpack and says, Um, I think your bag is open." Elena looks down. Her backpack is unzipped. Her phone, wallet, and hotel key are almost falling out. She quickly zips it up. "Oh, wow, thank you," she says. He smiles and says, "No problem. Have a good day." Elena nods. "You too," she replies. She walks away, feeling embarrassed again, but also thankful. She thinks, he was kind. That could have been worse. She takes a deep breath. She wants to go back to her room now. She walks to the elevator and presses the button. Inside her room, she sits on the bed. She takes out her journal and starts to write. "Today, I made a mistake. I walked into the wrong restroom. I was embarrassed, but someone helped me. I learned 2 things. First, slow down. Second, be more careful. Today was a small lesson, but I will remember it." She reads what she wrote and smiles. It was an awkward moment, but it was also a human moment. We all make mistakes. What matters is how we learn from them. Elena walks to the elevator. Her heart is still beating fast. She wants to go back to her room and forget what just happened. She feels embarrassed, but also a little better. At least the man was kind. At least she didn't drop anything from her backpack. She stands in front of the elevator and presses the button. The doors open. She steps inside and takes a deep breath. Finally, she can relax. But just before the doors close, a hand stops them. The doors open again. The same man from the hallway walks in. Elena looks straight ahead. She feels nervous again. She wants to laugh, but she also wants to hide. The elevator is quiet. The man stands next to her, calm and casual. Elena tries not to look at him. He presses a button and says, "Floor 4." Elena looks at her room key. Her room is also on the 4th floor. She thinks, of course. Of course we're on the second floor. The elevator moves up. Neither of them says anything. It is a little awkward, but it's also kind of funny. Elena smiles a little. Maybe it's not so bad. When they reach the 4th floor, the elevator doors open. Elena steps out quickly. She turns to him and says, "Okay, bye. Have a great night." She tries to sound confident. He laughs and says, "You too." Elena walks fast down the hallway. She finds her room, opens the door, and goes inside. She closes the door behind her and leans against it. She takes a deep breath and lets it out slowly. "Finally," she whispers, "I'm safe." She sits on the bed and starts to smile. The day was full of small surprises. She made a mistake. She felt embarrassed. But in the end, she is okay. And she is learning. Later that night, she calls her grandmother. Her grandmother answers the phone with a warm voice. "Hi, sweetie. How was your day?" Elena laughs and says, "It was interesting." She tells her grandmother the whole story. She talks about the wrong restroom, the kind stranger, the open backpack, and the elevator ride. Her grandmother listens carefully, then starts laughing. "Oh, Elena," she says between laughs, "you need to slow down and pay attention." Elena laughs too. "I know," she says. "I was so distracted." Her grandmother says, "It's okay, sweetie. These things happen. What matters is that you're safe, and now you have a funny story to tell." After the call, Elena picks up her journal again. She writes about her day. She writes about the lesson she learned. She writes, "Today, I learned 2 important things. First, always check before you open a door. Second, don't rush. Take your time. When you move too fast, you make small mistakes. But if you slow down, you can enjoy the moment." She closes the journal and thinks for a while. Then she looks at herself in the mirror. She smiles. Then, slowly, she begins to speak. She says, "Hi, Elena. How are you today?" She continues, "You made a mistake, but you are okay. You are learning, you are doing your best." This is a new idea for her. She decides to try something different from now on. Every morning and every night, she will stand in front of the mirror and speak out loud in English. She calls it mirror talk. It feels a little strange, but also fun. She says simple things like, "Today is a new day," and "I believe in myself." It helps her feel calm. It helps her feel stronger. She writes one last line in her journal before going to bed. This trip is not just about visiting Grandma. It is also about becoming braver, kinder, and more confident. I am proud of myself. Elena turns off the light and gets into bed. She holds the small wooden heart from her grandmother in her hand. She smiles in the dark. The day was not perfect, but it was real, and that makes it beautiful. She knows tomorrow will bring something new. She is ready. She is growing. And this journey is just the beginning. Elena's story was full of small adventures. She started as a young woman who was nervous and excited to travel alone for the first time. She flew from her small hometown to California to visit her grandmother. Even though she was scared, she took the first step. That was brave. When she arrived, she faced an embarrassing moment. She walked into the wrong restroom because she was distracted. It was a mistake. She felt nervous, ashamed, and a little lost. But instead of staying upset, she chose to smile, laugh, and learn from it. She also met a kind stranger who helped her twice. At the end of the day, she talked to her grandmother and shared everything. They laughed together, and Elena realized something important. Life is not perfect. We all make mistakes. What matters is how we respond to them. Elena wrote about her experience, and she began something new: mirror talk. She used it to practice English, build confidence, and remind herself to keep growing. Elena's journey teaches us a simple but powerful lesson. Slow down, pay attention, be kind to yourself. Mistakes are not the end. They are part of learning and becoming stronger. We all feel afraid sometimes, but when we try, we grow. You can use this story in your own life. Maybe you are learning English. Maybe you are afraid to speak. That's okay. Start small. Speak out loud at home. Try mirror talk like Elena. Write about your day in English. And remember, be proud of your progress. Every word you say is a step forward. Congratulations. You listened to and understood a full story in English. That's a big achievement. Your listening and reading skills have improved. Be proud of yourself. Now, here's a fun question for you. What did Elena start doing at the end of her day to practice English? A. She listened to music. B. She talked to herself in the mirror. Write your answer in the comments. A or B? I'll be checking to see how many of you get it right. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot and gives us the energy to make more fun, useful content for you. And if you feel like supporting us, please consider donating. Even a small amount helps us keep going. Making quality content takes time, and your support means the world. Thank you for being here. Keep learning, keep smiling, and see you in the next story.